Hello, everybody. Welcome to Browns and Beyond, your home for Cleveland Browns content, NFL content, and other sports content. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you stay locked in with all the latest sports content. And most importantly, drop us a comment. We want to hear your thoughts. All right, boys, we're here. It's Thursday night, and we got some things to go over with our favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, and some NFL today. There's a little bit of drama in the air with this Joe Flacco trade.
Something happened.
Was that a big surprise, Dave, for you, that Flacco trade?
Well, let me get into it. Surprise, not particularly a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, the last three games were not the best. He really started to show his 40-year-old age. He was slow. Worse yet, he was throwing interceptions. I did not find the fact that he was traded necessarily a surprise. Maybe where he was traded to a little bit, guys.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Traded to the Bengals within the division for the 26th fifth-round pick. The Bengals got Flacco and a sixth-round pick in 2026. The Bengals are desperate for stability at the quarterback position, with Joe Burrow being out for months with the turf toe.
And Browning not producing.
And then I was going to get into the Browning thing. Yeah, he's been struggling to provide offense. They sit at 2-3. Talk about not taking care of the football. He's thrown 8 picks in 4 games. It's not been good. And he's been sacked 9 times. And this is Browning.
Wow.
Flacco has a chance to make NFL history when he starts his first game for the Bengals. He'll become the first quarterback in the Super Bowl era to start for the Ravens, Browns, and Bengals, guys. So
Wow.
I found that to be very interesting.
What's the whole division?
Yeah, he's just missing the Steelers,
Just
right?
missing Pittsburgh.
Right, yeah, which, that's not going to happen.
Let's leave them out of
They
that.
already have an old quarterback, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, they don't need 241-year-olds.
As far as the Browns are concerned, the battle for who's going to be the number 2 quarterback, guys, I think we're all going to find to be very interesting.
Find out probably this weekend.
I think we're going to
Saturday.
find out.
Maybe even game day.
You think it's we're going to wait till Saturday?
I've heard rumblings it'll be this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. It's looking like Zappy.
I heard earlier in the week, Mary Kay Cabot had a report. Our favorite Cleveland Browns reporter, Mary Kay, a trade possibly elevates Shedeur Sanders to the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to have to wait and see. Sanders was listed as the backup on the unofficial depth chart, but could be activated. By the time the start of the season is, what you're looking at though, is I'm also hearing rumors from Zach Jackson from The Athletic. He's not ruling out the signing of Bailey Zappi to the active roster and have him being the backup. So
yeah.
I've heard things from Mary Kay about Shedeur being elevated to the number 2. I'm hearing things from Zach Jackson about Bailey Zappi possibly being elevated to the number 2. The Zappi alternative is not very inspiring. He's made 9 career starts. That would include starting the last game of the season, a meaningless game last year
against Baltimore
to end the season. He's currently on the practice squad, but Stefanski might choose to go with a guy who's essentially spent time, 2 years learning the system. So I think that's the case for Zappi over Shedeur.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that there's a feeling out there that Stefanski might just have a preference here.
Yeah,
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
There's definitely some politics. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Do we also need to reference the Deshaun Watson factor here, guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
That is a huge factor because I told you about this before, Dave.
Yes.
I got some intel that says if Watson doesn't get his way, meaning he gets back onto the field when he's been cleared health-wise,
yes,
he's going to make a big stink, and there's lawsuits, and I'm not kidding you guys, and they might have to put him on the roster.
Well, he is still
might have to do it.
He is still rehabbing, so
we're not there yet.
He's not there yet.
I'm projecting.
We could be at that point here in a matter of a few weeks, though.
That's correct.
From what I'm hearing.
Probably about 4.
Yeah, okay.
About 4 weeks away.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He
hearing.
could get re-injured again too, so I don't think we have to sweat it too bad.
Well,
seems to be like this way that he goes.
But here's what we're saying.
Yes.
It's we don't want a lawsuit, litigation, Browns, because really ideally what you want is, and this could happen. Hey, stay at home. Don't
Right.
come to work. But I'm hearing that Watson doesn't want to do that. So.
Well, yeah, and I'm also hearing towards the end of this month could be the possibility. And, the Browns are going to have a very interesting decision to make with all these quarterbacks on the roster. I mean, you're looking at, you've got Dylan Gabriel, you've got Shador, you've got Bailey Zappi, and then eventually you get Deshaun Watson on the roster. They're going to have to make some decisions here. Barry I don't even know how much Kevin Stefanski's involved in this and how much of this is Barry, but it's going to be interesting to see. By the way, if Shador is not the number 2 starter, imagine Sports Talk Radio, by the way.
Yeah.
That's going to feed the shouty shows, guys.
And I'll tell you right now,
Everybody wants to see him.
there's a big thing for Shador. An Uber driver picked me up the other day.
Uh-oh,
and
here
was
we
like,
go with
hey,
Uber
hey,
driver.
hey, Ken, did Shador play? That was the first thing out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, this is something that's going on here, guys. There's a big thing to get Shador in there. So, and I think we are going to see him. But
well, I've made the comment, just bottom line,
Yeah.
I feel that we will see, before the end of the season, there's a good chance we could see all 4 quarterbacks play. Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, maybe Zappi, and Shador. I've always said 3. I always thought we'd see 3, but there's a good chance we could see the Browns start.
could see
4
all of them.
quarterbacks
the reason why they're all
before
going
the end of this year.
to play is it's simple. It's they want to audition. They want to see who's going to be here next year.
Well, exactly. But
Yeah.
if there's a future, he's going to be either with Gabriel or Shador.
I
don't
so.
think Bailey Zappi is the future of this franchise.
But Watson could get on that field. It could happen. I'm not ruling it
That
out.
would be a real drastic type situation.
Would you rather see Watson than Zappi, though? I don't know.
I don't want to see
that would-
Zappi.
Neither, right? Neither, but
To be fair, guys, I think that would be due to a total lack of options. The Browns would have to be totally out of
injuries
options.
and Shador stunk it up and Dylan didn't do good and
all 4 of those, Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and Zappi would all have to break their legs tomorrow.
Yeah, you get You can't rule it out, but I know what you're saying. You're right. Injuries and stuff like that. Okay, keep going.
I just wanted to touch on the big trade that the Browns made. Well, maybe not so big of a trade, but
Mr. Newsom.
According to NFL insider Adam Schefter, the Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars have swapped cornerbacks. Greg Newsom will be heading to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 2026 6th-round pick, while the Cleveland Browns will be acquiring Tyson Campbell and a 2026 7th-round pick. This is an interesting move considering that Newsom was playing pretty solid at corner. He moved to the outside cornerback position, after the loss of Emerson. And, he's in a contract year. I think this is what had a lot to do with this, guys. In reviewing the stats, Newsom has 59 career starts. By the way, both corners are the same age. They're 25 years old. Newsom's racked up 178 tackles, 3 interceptions, 37 defense passes. Campbell, in 60 career games, 297 tackles. He has 6 interceptions and 42 defended passes. So, now, they say statistically Campbell's not been playing his best football over the course of the last couple seasons. Now, Newsom has had his struggles. He did have his struggles last season, but I thought was playing really well in a contract year. I think this had a lot to do with dollars and cents. And just the fact that towards the end of the year, I don't know if Browns management wants to give Greg Newsom the contract he's going to be looking for, no matter how well he plays.
That's what I heard. Yeah, you're right.
It was a business move, Dave.
Yeah, it's a business
no doubt
move.
about it.
Where the other guy's still got some years left, and he's cheaper.
Exactly.
He's cheaper.
I do
he's
believe
got a couple years left, right, guys?
There's
Tyson.
at least 2 years that the
There you
Browns
go.
will have to pay him, so you expect him to start.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be paying. Yeah.
You're right,
Was
business
be a free
move.
agent.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah,
we would have lost him.
Right. This is about the contract that probably they would have had to have given Newsom at the end of the season. Bottom line, it'll be interesting to see if this is an upgrade for the Browns at corner.
Yeah.
Campbell was a little taller, I believe, than Newsom, and Campbell plays in that zone defense in Jacksonville. And Jim Schwartz is saying that he's excited because we're man-to-man coverage. We think that
play a lot of
Campbell
man
he's going to start, by the way, this Sunday against Pittsburgh.
Really?
They named him a starter, guys, and he's good with the man-to-man. This should be better for us.
All right. We will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, get the Browns news and headlines. And what are your thoughts on the Joe Flacco trade heading to the Bengals? Do you think he might beat the Packers twice in the same season? What do you think about that?
Let me get there, Brent. first off, like Dave said, my general rule of doing business is that you don't make a trade within your division.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be the Bengals though than the Steelers or the Ravens, of course.
Yeah.
The Browns really don't get a lot in the trade. Yeah, they move up to the 5th, but that's about it. Proves that they're not aware. They're aware that they're not a playoff team, guys. So they're looking to play the rookies, and that's what we got. And Stefanski said the Bengals, they're not looking good right now. With Burrow out and backup Browning playing badly. Yeah, as we said, Zach Taylor already named Flacco the starter against the Packers.
One thing for historical purposes here, I just want to throw in real quick. Two of the big ones inside the division, after Tom Brady took over in 2001 leading the Patriots to the Super Bowl, the Patriots shipped a guy by the name of Drew Bledsoe.
Where'd he go?
He went to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that's right.
And took over as the starter there for a few years.
And he had a solid career,
yeah. Played a couple solid seasons in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then after the end of the 2009 season, the Philadelphia Eagles sent Donovan McNabb to Washington. So inside the division. Now that was the right move.
Yeah.
The right. Early on, by the way, the Bledsoe move to Buffalo looked pretty good for Buffalo. Early
no
on.
doubt. Yeah.
But then they make the move. The Washington move with McNabb totally made sense because after the 2009 season, that was pretty much it for McNabb. So, just a couple of historical points.
Yeah. Keep going, Steve.
So anyhow, as we said, Zach Taylor already named Flacco the starter against the Packers. Flacco, you already beat him once for the Browns. Zach Taylor praised Flacco's strong arm, and he thinks he can play with the personnel, of course, like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
The receivers will help.
I think he will let Flacco sling it downfield, something Stefanski did not let him do.
Yeah.
I think he will throw his interceptions like he always does, but he will have some success with the Bengals. They want Flacco to save their season. Sound familiar, guys? Didn't that guy do that for us in 2023?
Yeah.
Can he save our division opponent, the Bengals?
I think
the Bengals.
I think he
keep
can.
In the playoff hunt for when Burrow gets back in December.
I think he can.
Well, me and Brent have spoken about this before. We spoke about this after the Burrow injury. First of all, I'm surprised that Browning played this poorly.
Yeah.
He's looked awful.
Yeah.
He was playing pretty solid football as a backup 2 years ago. He had a winning record as a starter with the Bengals. Came in, to the starting role this season with a very high completion percentage. I thought he would be solid for the Bengals, but he's been throwing a lot of bad interceptions over the course of these last four games he's played in. And, the Bengals had no choice but to make a move. Now, whether Joe Flacco's the right move, time will tell.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Flacco did his job. He got the Browns through the tough part of the schedule, so I was happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm not upset with the move because I do want to see Gabriel for a while and Shedeur Sanders eventually. They're saying Stefanski hasn't yet made the call, as we know, as their backup role, like we were just saying, whether it be Shedeur or Billy Zappi. I think it's clear that Shedeur should get it, and everyone wants to see him play. However, for whatever reason, I don't personally think Stefanski is a big Shedeur guy. We've seen what Zappi can do, as we said, played actually pretty bad in that Browns-Raven matchup last season. Some are saying that they want to put Shedeur, NFL Network said this as well. Mm-hmm. They want to put Shedeur in when the time is right, with a full week of practice and knowing what he's getting into to have success.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They want him to have success. If he's a backup, that doesn't
mop-up
happen.
duty.
You're throwing him in. You're throwing him into the Wolves. Would you rather throw? So look at it like this: would you rather throw Zappi into the pack of Wolves or throw Shedeur in? What if they want him to be successful? At least that's what NFL Network was reporting.
That's coddling a little bit.
It is.
That's coddling.
I said this before.
Yeah.
It's the NFL. You're going to face week to week. I know that you're going to say, well, we hope to face this team. It's not like college. You're not going to get a MAC school 1 week to play against to warm up. This is the NFL. It stands for not for long, by the way, if you don't perform.
Exactly.
So, you have to play the guy when the time is right. If you don't feel your starter is performing, then you go to the backup. It's the natural thing you do in the NFL. And, I think it's a matter of time before we see Shedeur. So, for all the people that are arguing to see Shedeur, I think he starts before the end of the season. I'm still on record. So I think
you're
there's
right.
a lot of people.
He's going to play.
I think there's a lot of people crying about nothing because I think the fact is he will start some games before the end of the season.
Yeah, they have to see what they got in the draft pick, and I think Jamie will make sure of it. whether it happens in injury or they want to get him in there. Again, like we said, oh no, they said Deshaun Watson could be back. No one is looking forward to that. Like I said, I think something might happen to him. He's very injury prone. I mean, he could just walk wrong and the Achilles could tear again. He's not wearing the boot. Well, this time he'll probably take it serious. When we want him to take it serious, he wasn't really taking it serious. Watch, he probably will now when it doesn't matter. Too little, too late.
Yes, very too little, too late, yeah.
Overall, it's good for the Browns so they can play the rookies. Only bad thing is they traded him to a division opponent. I wish Flacco well. I enjoyed his time here, and I will never forget the 2023 season he had for the Browns in that 5-game stretch, guys.
All right.
Well said. All right, boys, we're going to get into my take on this, and before we get into the recap of the Browns and Vikings game, basically, here's where I'm at with it.
Yep.
The Joe Flacco trade, what it means to me and going forward. First of all, I think Joe Flacco is going to go to the Bengals, and I think a week or two ago, I said to you guys, I thought Joe Flacco was washed. And now I have a different take on it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give another twist to this that I never really thought of this until now. Do I think he is completely washed? And the answer is no. I kind of feel like he's still got some gas in the tank. And what I am starting to come to the conclusion is that Kevin Stefanski has been meddled with. I think there's a lot of politics going on within the Browns organization between Andrew Berry, Haslam, DePodesta, and Stefanski, and it's a big mess. It's like, hey, do it my way. No, you do it my way. And there's a lot of commotion. And you know what? I don't think Stefanski is able to do his job without distractions.
Is it too many cooks in the kitchen?
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Let me make two.
Go ahead.
Let me make 2 points.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 things are a lateral move here for Joe Flacco. The lateral move is he goes from bad offensive line to bad offensive line.
Yeah.
Because the Bengals' offensive line is horrible and the Browns' offensive line is horrible. Is that fair to say?
But he's got but he's got the weapons.
Okay, I was going to say one upgrade, which was he's getting better weapons,
Yeah.
he's getting better wide receivers. But the offensive line stinks. The offensive line stinks. And I will say this about the coaching: as bad as Kevin Stefanski is that guy that's dropped down from Mars, as you put it, Zach Taylor?
I know.
Taylor's probably better.
Yeah,
I bet you he has him throwing downfield.
And Steve Retzer just said it correctly.
Now, all of a sudden, we're going to make Zach Taylor out to be Bill Walsh part 2.
I am coming to a different conclusion, guys. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like the Browns culture is just awful. It is doomsday. It is terrible. Okay. I feel like there's infighting. For example, did you hear the press conference with Stefanski? He goes, "Oh, I was surprised that Flacco got traded." It just tells me that there's a rift. I kind of felt. I told this to Steve. I kind of felt after. I think it was with the year that Watson got hurt. That was last year. And after that, Dorsey and all that, I just feel like they were meddling with Stefanski. Dorsey was calling the plays. I don't think Stefanski ever got back to calling the plays that he wanted. I just feel like I'm not giving Stefanski a pass. Mm-hmm. I'm not. But I just think there's a culture issue. There's a big problem systemic with the whole organization. And you know what? They're not letting the man do his job. And I'll be honest, now that the way things are the way they are, maybe they got to get rid of Stefanski and just start all over because I feel like it's damaged goods.
Well,
he's kind of like damaged goods.
Nobody has ever said that the Bengals culture will make you forget the New England Patriots of the early 2000s.
But this seems like a soap opera with this Browns thing. That's where I'm at. So, bottom line, I think Flacco is going to do well with the Bengals. I really do. I think that he's going to have a clear vision of what they need. They're going to have weapons. I know the line sucks. I just got a feeling he's going to step up and he's going to do good for the Natty. And that's my take. All right, guys, we will get in to the next topic, and that is the Cleveland Browns and the Vikings in London. Oh, what a game that disappointed us, right? I mean, I kind of thought they were going to win that thing. And look, at the end they kind of give it up, and
they Cleveland Browns.
Oh man, Steve Retzer, I think he was at some chili cook-off, and
I was,
and he was watching the game, and he texted me, he was so disappointed in that, and anyway, Steve, go ahead and give us your take on the Browns and Vikings, this big disappointing loss that we had, 21-17, by the way, the Vikings win that in London. Go ahead, Steve. What do you got for me on the Browns versus Vikings?
All right, boys. After that loss, the Vikings moved to 3-2, and the Browns fall to 1-4 Not good.
No.
And the game was lost by coaching.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski is a soft sucker. I want him fired.
Wow.
Stefanski is 4-20 in his last 24 games, 41-48 in regular season games. What coach keeps a job with numbers like that? I get it. He got a pass for the Watson trade, but he's not doing anything to keep his job now. Stefanski, he's regressed. They've scored 17 points or fewer in 10 straight games dating back to last season.
Wow.
He has them throwing 7-yard passes.
Yeah.
If you turn the channel to another NFL game, you see real football, downfield passes, all game long.
Yeah.
Much different from viewing the Browns offensively. Funny thing is, national media backs him up. It's like they're trained to say how good Stefanski is. Old coaches back him up as well. It's never his fault.
Yeah.
Is he corporate, Steve?
He is corporate.
Let me say this. I listen to a local sports show, and there is somebody from local media that goes on there every week and says, if the Browns fired Kevin Stefanski, he would have a job tomorrow with an NFL team.
And
He would.
And that's fine.
And
are you guys buyers in that?
I'm big buyer. You know why?
Why?
It's simple. He fits the part of corporate America.
Yeah.
And you know what
Says
people
the right
love?
things.
They love corporate America. Have you? Okay. We've all had some corporate jobs.
He wins press conferences, but he doesn't win football games.
He's the guy that looks good on the website that says CEO.
Yeah.
He just does.
Yeah.
Steve,
Says
go
the
ahead.
right thing.
Yeah.
Ivy League and his Ivy League guys.
Yeah. Two-time Coach of the Year, Steve.
Yeah, two-time Coach of the Year.
You can put that on a resume, Brett.
But Steve Retzer is right.
Yes.
He's regressed. Now, I have my take on it. I'm a little different than Steve. But bottom line is, Steve's right. He has regressed and continues, Steve, with your...
Yes. A lot of Browns fans, no offense, a lot of guys that don't watch enough games, they say, but Steve, like on my Facebook when I put something up there, they'll say, we can't see him fire another coach. We've seen that already.
Yeah.
I go, but guys, what you're not understanding is it's the time. Now, it might not have been the time or they did the wrong hires before, but it's the time. We've seen enough, guys. And Kevin Stefanski, he's like the Teflon Don. He doesn't go away. Let him leave and get a job. Next day, elsewhere, like we just said, let him do it. He won't be like a Baker Mayfield. He's not going to come back to haunt us. I'm really not scared of that at all, just to tell you the truth. I'd say let him go at least by season's end, guys. It's just I've just had enough of them. So now let me just get into the game, but I had to tell you about my feelings of
Got to get on a little rant there, huh, Steve?
I did.
I'm glad you have some strong feelings. I do as well, Steve.
Hey, Steve, tell me what you really think. All right, good.
All right, boys. So anyhow, rookie Dylan Gabriel got his first start. Played fairly well. Gabriel was 19 of 33 for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. This was the game of the rookies, possibly the future guys, starters for the Browns. Quinshawn Junkins, Dave, great pick, by the way, by you.
Yeah.
For your rookie.
He's the offense now.
Oh, God.
He is
he's
the
like
offense.
the main. He's the main piece of the
He's
entire
everything.
thing.
Yeah, he's
he's everything.
now.
He's explosive. He had 23 rushes, 110 yards, with 4.8 yards a carry. Gosh, is that good? Reminds me of another guy, Nick Chubb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could have had more. There was one long run that was negated by not one but 2 holding penalties.
Yeah.
Did you see that? They threw flags. 2 Browns holding. Man, it looked like a great run, though.
You know what he does? He turns some water into wine, as I put it, because the run blocking by this offensive line is not very good. But you know what? He can make people miss. He can break a tackle. He's perfectly suited to be an every down workhorse running back in the NFL. And every time he gets the ball, I'm glad the Browns picked him because he's one of the best picks that Barry's had, and I think he will be.
Yeah, he's strong. He's got great vision. I mean, he can see that field. He knows where to hit the hole, where to back out, where to...
He made some really nice cuts this weekend on a few of those runs, yep.
Gabriel, one thing we know is he did have mobility, something we haven't seen yet this season. We're used to seeing the statue back there.
Yeah.
He showed confidence. He did make quick, decisive throws, and he used his legs to escape pressure, guys. He didn't make many downfield throws, which we wanted to see. So they're either saying that his arm strength just isn't great, or Stefanski held him back. I don't know what you guys think on that. He didn't convert well on 3rd downs. I believe we punted the ball 8 times. I mean, that's kind of a lot of punts. But what do you guys think? I want to get your feeling.
I thought he played good enough for the first game. He
didn't let him throw downfield, or is his arm weaker?
No, it was a combination of two. He did miss some throws. Let's be fair.
He did.
But he did make some good plays when he needed to. He got us some touchdowns.
Yes.
He kept us in the game. By the way, guys, he looked the part and he was very composed.
I'll go letter grade. I give him. I'm between a C plus and a B minus.
I was going to say the same thing. C plus, B minus.
I'm a C plus and a B minus. I think he was a clear upgrade over starting Joe Flacco for another week, and I don't think there's any doubt about that.
The other thing too is, you're right, Steve. They're just. Did you guys see the throw chart? Did you guys look at the throw chart?
Yeah. There's a stat out there where depth per target right now, average depth per target right now is one of the lowest in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you just cannot survive with Dinkin and Duncan. I'm going to get into that in a minute. And it's just, it's horrible. And this has to do with game planning. Now, I will say a little bit of this has to, maybe a lot of this still also has to do with the wide receivers as well.
Yeah, they're just, it's just dysfunction. It just is. But anyways, continue, Steve.
All right, boys. On a good note, the tight ends, they both caught touchdown passes.
Yes.
They were zipped right in there.
Chief, yeah.
David Njoku, he caught one of them. He had 6 catches, 67 yards. Harold Fannin Jr., he caught the other touchdown pass, 4 catches, 13 yards. Then Gabriel, he did connect with Jabari Thrash. Remember that in preseason? It was just one grab, but it was nice to see that, because they connected well in the preseason. Isaiah Bond and Jerry Jeudy, they both had 2 catches, so nothing spectacular, but it
wasn't spectacular at all.
Here's the deal, though, guys. Here's just my opinion. I know it's just one start, but Gabriel reminds me of another old Brown, Colt McCoy. He just more like a backup who can play but not stretch the field. I think we need to give him a few more starts before deciding if he's a starter or backup. But he reminds me of Colt. Colt didn't have real great arm strength, but he was in the league a long time, and he was a serviceable backup. The Browns' defense, they played fairly well until the end, that was. Yeah. They were up 17-14 in the fourth quarter. They forced 2 fumbles, one by Alex Wright on Jordan Mason, another by Shelby Harrison and Isaiah McGuire on Xavier Scott.
Yeah.
That
D-line played well.
Yeah. We had 3 sacks. Alex Wright had 1. I'd like to see him getting that. Malik Collins, boys.
He's playing great football.
2 sacks.
Yeah, he's playing great
football. He had an
football.
outstanding game. Collins is having a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah.
It may not even matter if Michael Hall Jr. returns from injury. It's every week. Well, Michael Hall Jr.'s on the injury report again.
Right now, he would
except for death.
Yeah, right now he would be a depth piece. He'd just be a rotational guy, which always helps.
Yeah, having a heck of a year. The Vikings had 3 starting linemen out, and I was surprised to see Myles Garrett have a bad game. I just thought he would get in there more with all those guys out, and I'm glad the other guys did. Carson Schlesinger, he had another solid game with 11 tackles. Again, I like seeing these rookies playing and everything like that. Carson Wentz started for the Vikings. He was 25-34, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Cam Akers on a trick play, they handed the ball off to him, and he threw a pass to Josh Oliver for a touchdown. That threw the Browns defense off a little bit. I was really surprised about Wentz's mobility. I thought he moved really, really well. We stopped Jordan Mason, so we stopped another running back. That Justin Jefferson, though, man, was he electric. 7 catches, 123 yards. That guy's awesome. One of the best in the business, guys. T.J. Hawkinson, their tight end, he had 6 catches. And then I thought this was interesting. Jordan Addison was benched in the first quarter for disciplinary reasons. Yeah. And then he rebounds back to get the game-winning touchdown over Denzel Ward.
Not a great drive for Denzel. He got victimized a couple times.
That play surprised me. Ward got beat and didn't track the ball well.
Yes.
But even the best get beat sometimes, guys. Just going to say the Brian Flores-led Vikings, they gave up 349 yards. That was a season high for their defense. But they stepped up in the fourth quarter. The Vikings are now 5-0 all-time in London. Kevin O'Connell continues to prove he's an excellent coach. He's disciplined, he's smart, and he gets the best from his backups, something we don't see in Cleveland. I just, I'm not on the Stefanski train, guys. Now we move to Pittsburgh. It'll be a tough game for Gabriel, but after that, the schedule lightens up, guys. So go Browns.
Yeah, well said, Steve. We're going to get to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, I know you've been kind of chomping at the bit for this segment. Dave, what do you think about that Browns game in London there? It was so disappointing, and give us your perspective.
Well, let's just start. The Browns did position themselves well for victory. I believe I called this game 16-13 Browns. This was a very bitter pill to swallow. And I'm not just saying that because I picked them to win. This was a game where we had a lot going for them. Essentially, true, considering they're starting a rookie quarterback in his first start, he did complete 57.5% of his passes. Steve mentioned the 190 yards passing and the 2 touchdowns. He also didn't commit a turnover. That was the reason that maybe I would have bumped him up to a B- after Flacco had his interception issues the last few weeks. He didn't fumble. He didn't throw an interception. He wasn't exactly airing it out, as we saw. We saw a lot of dink and dunk, guys, a lot of short passes.
Yes, we did.
This might explain why his leading receiver was David Njoku, with 6 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. He made a really nice he made a few of those high-level throws, though. Both to Njoku. He threw a nice corner route in the first half, and then the TD pass in the third quarter, by the way, Brett, I thought was a really nice route. It was a dart there for the touchdown that gave the Browns the 17-14 lead. This is my question about Dylan. Could he make the high-level throws into tight windows and be accurate in the intermediate routes? Because here's the thing. I'm going to put this way. College football is about 2 things. You either throw a really short pass or you throw a really long pass.
Yeah.
And it's about the wide receivers doing the majority of the work. They're either going to take a short pass and take it a long way, or they're going to beat their corner by 7 yards down the field and be so wide open they can field a punt. Where's the money made in the NFL? In the intermediate routes. Yeah. Can you throw that 15 to 20 yard deep out, which you did show the ability to throw in the preseason?
Yeah.
And can you throw that skinny post? Can you throw that deep dig route? Can you throw the shallow cross? It's those 15 to 20 yard routes that make or break the quarterbacks in the NFL.
So here's something I want to add to this about Dylan Gabriel's throwing.
Sure.
This is some of the scouting and some of the perspectives. I've been listening to some experts over the weekend.
Please.
Is that Dylan Gabriel does a great job with outs. And by the way, the out is one of the hardest passes to throw in the NFL.
It's
very difficult.
Yeah,
he's very good at it. He's also good at some of the crosses. You know what he's not good at? In the middle. Yeah. And that's because of the help me out, guys. The hand. No, the short and help me out. What is that? When they the batted balls.
Yes.
And they said that's where his struggle's at. But they said he can get those outs though. That's his thing, and that's a hard thing. But you still got to throw down the middle sometimes. You do.
Well, especially against the zone. Usually the weaker part of the field to work against the zone is that middle of the field.
Yeah. So I want to add that, Dave. Sorry.
I'm glad that you did. We saw this basically in the preseason from them, short, quick throws. We did occasionally see that 15 to 20 yard deep out that you referred to earlier. I would like to have seen him, a little bit more of that in this game. I'd like to have seen an aggressive game plan. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. He was aided by a very strong running game. Judkins, 23 carries for 110 yards on the ground. He, again, showed a nice ability to run in between the tackles, an ability to cut, made some really nice gains on the ground. And if there's any doubt who the best weapon on the field is, it's him. The offensive line, man. Well, it got back to services of Jack Conklin at tackle. He played a really solid game. He finished with a, very solid, PFF grade of 67.5. The major issue on this offensive line is the opposite tackle, Leviston. He's a turnstile at tackle, and he could be a real liability this week against the Steelers, especially against their edge rushers, especially if he's matched up against Mr. Watt. Yeah. He ended up with an overall 35.6 overall PFF grade. He was horrible, on run blocking, and he was horrible as a pass blocker. I never thought we would miss DeJuan Jones at tackle, but watching this guy, I miss DeJuan Jones at tackle, and that's
you'll buy him a salad when he comes back, right?
And that's an indictment. This was also not another good outing by our number one receiver, Mr. Jerry Jeudy, who had 2 more receptions than Steve, Brent, and me in this game. 2 catches for 15 yards. Gosh. Boy, that's excellent production out of a receiver that produced over 1,200 yards receiving a year ago. This is another issue that, Kevin deserves some blame for. This coming from a game flow, decision making standpoint and play calling standpoint is really where I'm having the issues with Kevin Stefanski. I'm going to get into that here once I talk about a certain point in the game where I really had a problem with him. As far as the game goes, the Browns took a 10-7 lead into the locker room. The opening of the second half opened well for both teams. The Vikings opened the second half with an 8-play, 71-yard drive, ending with a 3-yard Jordan Mason TD run. That would give the Vikings the 14-10 lead. The Addison-Jefferson combo would come up big, as you would see later. They made a nice 21-yard catch by Jefferson that got them to the Browns' 35. A 15-yard completion to Addison got them to the Browns' 20-yard line. They would eventually score a touchdown to take the 14-10 lead. The Browns responded nicely. A 13-play, 69-yard touchdown drive that ended with that nice Dillon to David Njoku, nice 9-yard completion for the touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a sharp throw, by the way. It would remain that way. The Browns would hold on to the 17-14 lead. And Stefanski, his in-game issue came with 3:27 left. The Browns had the ball on their own 43-yard line. This is when Stefanski, having little confidence in his QB, came to the party, by the way, and it wasn't good. The Vikings had 3 timeouts in the 2-minute warning, meaning that the Vikings had effectively had 4 timeouts. The Browns ran 2 times up the middle, by the way, putting Dylan Gabriel in a 3rd-and-9 situation. My line of thinking here is simple.
You got to throw a little earlier on that.
Exactly.
There you go.
You got to throw on first down. You got to throw on second down. You've already shown a confidence to let him throw some short passes. Let him at least throw a short pass on
and get your first
or
down.
second down. Absolutely.
They were like playing Marty ball, like conservative, like we're just going to punt this away. And our deep now it's just and here's the other thing that bothered me about it. If I Dave, tell me if I'm missing something. You guys can say that defense gave it up, but here's the thing: they were on the field a lot. They were on the field a lot too. I mean, you can't. Yeah, you got to go for it. What are you doing?
Too conservative.
This was my issue. This is why I had my problem. They had the defense had done their job. Yeah, now I do think the defense had to get a stop at the end of the game, and I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, keep
but
going.
Bottom line, the offense has to get the 2 first downs and put the game away.
Yeah.
They've got 4 timeouts now.
That's
Browns
where
need
I'm
at least 2 first downs. You got to be a little bit more aggressive. I get it. They're running the ball well, but who's also aware of that? The Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
So
they were keying on that.
And you want to be running the ball in 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 5.
How about a surprise pass and get the damn first down?
Exactly. How about a little bootleg rollout, little short pass? Not into a line that's expecting the run.
Get creative. What is that?
I must also add, he needs to show more confidence in Gabriel. That's where I'm at. He needs to show more confidence in Gabriel. The dinking and dunking needs to stop. He needs to design some plays early in the game to get Judy the ball, to get him a little bit more confidence. I think that would also help. And, listen, we understand the issues with the roster. You need to eventually see what this QB can do. You need to see if he can make some down-the-field throws, work those intermediate routes a little bit more. He just needs to be aggressive with the offensive game plan. Let Gabriel throw the ball more down the field and with those intermediate routes.
Not to interject, but Retzer and I were talking about this a week or two ago, about this thing about the reason why things are different this year with Flacco and Gabriel so far with the conservatism is that he was not happy last year with that Winston barrage of interceptions, and it just ticked him off. And he's like the other way, like he's like a born again Christian. I'm going to church on Sunday. I'm doing everything. Everything perfect. Am I wrong?
He'll go for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
Analytics tell you to do that or whatever. But he's scared a little bit. He doesn't want the interceptions. Is that why it leads to 7-yard passes? I don't know.
And that's insane to think that way, guys.
Here's the thing.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing. I think the way that they won the game against the Packers, the 13-10, I think he feels...
They want to win that way.
Yeah. But, the problem with that is, you have young quarterbacks that you have to see whether they're capable of throwing the ball down the field or at least throwing the intermediate routes and completing those throws, which are where quarterbacks have to make their living in the NFL. And you have to see whether Dylan Gabriel can make those high-level intermediate throws, those tight window throws, but you need to scheme up a game plan that's conducive to that. And I'm not confident Kevin Stefanski can do that. That's my issue with Kevin Stefanski. Other than that situational play calling in this game, which was also awful.
It's like it does seem like he's changed. Like Steve was talking about regression. It just seems like he's got the training wheels on. He won't take them off. It's weird.
Yeah, this was another wasted game by the way for the defense. Malik Collins, the 2 sacks. They held the Vikings under 100 yards on the ground. I get the last drive was frustrating. They went 10 plays for 80 yards for the winning TD with 25 seconds left. They were victimized again by Addison and Jefferson. Jefferson made a nice catch against Denzel for 21 yards to get him to the Browns' 27-yard line. That was a real contested catch. Nice play by Jefferson. Addison would finish the drive, as Steve mentioned, with the nice 12-yard TD catch for the winner. The timeout usage on the final drive, I don't know if you guys had an issue with that. I heard a lot of people talk about that. The Vikings were going to go for the win there. There was no need to waste timeouts.
That's a tough
I think
one.
The Vikings wanted to win the game with the TD. It would have been interesting to see if they could have given Gabriel a little bit more time.
I know.
Or given him a couple timeouts to work with on that last drive.
No kidding.
In any case, the winning touchdown by Addison made it the final 21-17 Vikings.
Yeah.
Just in conclusion, the offense continues to waste good performances by the defense.
Jeez.
I get they needed to get a stop, and it appeared Denzel did get victimized on those key throws. Really, I come back to the offense. You need to close the deal with 3 minutes and change. You just have to. You wasted the performance by the defense. Get a couple of first downs. They need to be more aggressive, and Kevin Stefanski needs to be more aggressive with his game plan. The question I have is, will a QB or the Browns fans get that game plan? Because I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Dave, for sure. Yeah, he's handcuffing the team, and I don't know. I'll be honest. Like I told you guys earlier, I don't know if it is all Stefanski. It just seems like that organization, there's a lot of, what did Steve say, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and I don't know. I know Stefanski probably going to ultimately take the fall, but it's just an odd thing for sure. All right, we're going to get into the game of the week, and I think Steve Retzer had this game called the Battle of the Bad, and I don't think it went Retzer's favor. He was on fire, and now he's starting to go on the decline. You started out hot this season. Oh, wait a second. Maybe you got this other prediction right later. We'll talk about that. But yeah. Anyway, Steve, get into your Battle of the Bad. I know you love you love talking about the Giants and the Saints, and I told you it'd be a baseball game score, and the safety and the field goal and all that. Steve, what happened in that Giants and Saints game? What do you got?
All right, boys. Well, the Saints won 26-14. So I guess I was wrong. I picked the Giants, and I thought.
Hold on. Did you say you're wrong? I gotta make sure. Okay. I think I turned the volume up, but
Adjust that hearing of yours.
I know. Keep on. I like that. Good.
I thought that Jackson Dart would go 2-0, and I was wrong. Spencer Rattler got his first NFL win.
Yeah.
Both teams moved to 1-4 in this Battle of the Bad, as I like to call it. Kellen Moore, the Saints coach, got his first win as the head coach. The Giants started strong. They were up 14-3, but they committed 5 consecutive turnovers, leading to 23 unanswered Saints points. I mean, you can't do that and expect to win a game. My goodness. You're up 14-3, and then, what? 5 turnovers?
Yeah,
Jeez.
this isn't going to be too many wins for the Saints, by the way. To give New Orleans their first win was not a good sign for Jackson starting that Giants offense.
The Giants just beat the Chargers and Herbert, and then they come and losing to, oh boy,
that was pretty pathetic.
Rattler and the Saints. Jackson Dart, he was 26 of 40 for 202 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but he also had the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
He was responsible for 3 of the 5 turnovers, so you can't win with that. Cam Scatteroo had 15 rushes for 59 yards and 6 catches for 45 yards. He seems to be like a highlight of the Giants. I mean,
I'm hearing a lot of Mike Allstott comps with Cam Scatteroo. Some people are comping him to remember Mike Allstott on those Tampa Bay teams of the 90s
I like them,
and early 2000s. Yeah.
So he's playing good so far this year. He's one of the only things on the offense. Theo Johnson had 6 catches for 33 yards, and he caught both of the touchdown passes from Dart. It's obviously, Dave, they miss Malik Neighbors. He's out for the season. But man, wouldn't that be something if Dart had him to throw the ball to?
Always tough when you lose your alpha number one receiver, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he's got to take care of the football. That's the biggest thing. Dart's got to take care of the football.
He does, guys. Spencer Rattler, he was 21 of 31. He had 225 yards and a touchdown. Kendre Miller and Alfred Kamara led the rushing attack. Miller actually had more rushing yards than Kamara. Kind of surprised me there, but they're like a little 1-2 punch there, you know. Rattler connected with the Rashid Shaheed. 4 catches, 114 yards, including an 87-yard touchdown. That was a big-time play for the Saints.
I will say, Spencer Rattler's been playing some under-the-radar, very solid football for the Saints. He's not the future there at quarterback for them, but he's playing very solid football this year.
He's keeping him in games. I was looking at other scores, and they're not getting crushed like I thought they would. Staying in games, at least stayed in with the Bills a few other games. Chris Olave, Ohio State guy, 7 catches, 59 yards. Saints safety Jordan Howden returned a fumble, 86 yards for a touchdown. Kool-Aid McKinstry had both interceptions. What a name. You guys like that?
Alabama.
Like Kool-Aid?
Yeah, one of Nick Saban's corners, yeah.
Nice. Guys, bottom line, you can't get wins with turnovers. Dart has a lot to learn. The Giants' defensive line did not take over as I expected. I expected Lawrence to have a better game. Abdul Carter, Brian Burns he's supposed to be the main guy. I did this best defensive line in the whole NFL.
Well, let's put it this way: some defensive lines can't save bad offenses. Where have we heard that before, gentlemen? Where have we heard that before?
I
don't know.
Familiar.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Well, guys, the Saints, they're now going to face the Patriots, so good luck with that. And then the Giants play tonight, guys. The Eagles on Thursday Night Football. 2 tough matchup for 2 bad football teams. And that was it for the Battle of the Bad Guys.
All right. Got to turn to Mr. Dave Greenshield. We'll see how his luck went. How'd you do, Dave, on this? On your game of the week. We'll talk about that.
Well, I really felt I was going to get my first win, by the way. This was a battle between the Broncos and the Eagles in a game where I could see both teams making deep postseason runs. The Eagles got off to a nice start in this one, taking a 17-3 lead into the fourth quarter. Broncos were able to make a stunning fourth quarter comeback to take a 21-17 victory. This was a game in which the Broncos had 154 of their 358 yards in the fourth. The Eagles' offense got out in front in this one in the second quarter. The two teams exchanged field goals in the first quarter to make the game 3 apiece. The Eagles put together a nice 7-play, 90-yard touchdown drive in the second that was capped by a 2-yard TD pass to Dallas Goedert. The drive was highlighted by a 52-yard pass from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith on a 3rd and 17. They got the ball to the Philly 22, they got the ball from the Philly 22 to the Denver 26-yard line. Pardon me. This was a game where Hurts threw the ball 38 times, in a game where Saquon Barkley only got 6 carries. I think that's a dynamic that the Eagles
want to change of events.
Yeah, that's a dynamic the Eagles want to avoid, I'm sure, going forward. That's not the type of balance they're looking for. This allowed the Denver defense to really get after Hurts. The Broncos got 6 sacks in this one. They got a really nice game out of Nick Bonito, who, after he got that big contract, is continuing to produce. He had 2.5 sacks in this one. We talked about the matchup going up against the Eagles tackles in the game preview. The Eagles expanded their lead in the third quarter. They would open up third with a 4-play, 70-yard TD pass. 74-yard TD drive that was capped by a nice over-the-shoulder throw by Hurts to Saquon Barkley for a 47-yard TD pass. The Eagles would take the 17-3 lead. The Denver defense would clamp down after that, holding the Eagles to just 1 first down in the next 3 drives. The Broncos would get cooking towards the end of the third quarter. They would start a 10-play touchdown drive that led into the fourth quarter. Bo Nix completed several key passes in that drive and ended with a 2-yard J.K. Dobbins run. That cut the lead to 17-10. The Broncos forced a 3-and-out by the Eagles. Then they started a 6-play, 72-yard touchdown drive. This was highlighted by a big 34-yard completion to Cortland Sutton. He made several key catches in this game. That set the Broncos up at the Eagles' 11-yard line. The drive culminated with an 11-yard touchdown pass from Nix to Evan Ingram. This made it 17-16. Sean Payton showed some guts in this one. He went for 2 with 7:36 left in the game. Nix made a nice little rollout throw to Troy Franklin for a 2-point conversion that gave the Denver Broncos an 18-17 lead. The Broncos forced another 3-and-out. Denver would put together a nice 11-play drive to take 3:49 off the clock. The drive ended up with a 36-yard field goal with only 1:11 left to give them a 21-17 lead. The Eagles would drive all the way to the Broncos' 29-yard line. The Eagles were furious in this one, and I think they had right to be. In watching the highlights of this one, there was a missed pass interference call right inside the 5-yard line on Dallas Goedert. They didn't call it. The last pass into the end zone did fall incomplete. This was a gutty effort by the Denver Broncos. They did a few major things in this one that I really liked. They got a nice game out of Nix. He was the question mark. Remember, Steve, you mentioned regression.
Yeah, I said sophomore slump.
You mentioned a sophomore
slump. He just beat the undefeated Eagles,
he
right?
Did.
Yeah, I never thought Bo Nix would have that sophomore slump.
You actually thought he would play well coming into this.
I did. No,
okay.
I didn't. I think Bo Nix. I didn't think he would have that. Now
him and
Stroud had that slump.
I didn't know if he went into that fraud category.
No. Bo Nix
is there.
I got to give you this, Steve. Him and Cortland Sutton are playing great together. I will give you that.
You take a look at it. 24-39, 242 yards with a touchdown, no picks, no turnovers.
Yeah.
He used his mobility when necessary. He had kept several key fourth-quarter throws. It helped that he got a nice game out of Sutton, 9 catches for 99 yards. And the other key is Denver's defense. They limited the run, holding the Eagles to 45 yards on the ground. The pass rush was there. They got 6 sacks. This shows kind of the high end of this football team. It's a very complete football team. The Eagles let this one slip away. Philadelphia was the heaviest team in the NFL through the first 4 weeks on running the football, and they were 4-0 in those games. And this was due to it's interesting. The Eagles receivers were openly frustrated with their respective roles in this offense, A.J. Brown in particular voicing that frustration in a variety of ways. In the end, Hurts finished with 280 yards and 2 touchdown passes through the air. Just in conclusion in this game, I think both teams take something out of this one. Let's start with Philly. Listening to your wide receivers about touches might not always be the best way to run your offense, by the way. It might be better to have a little bit of balance, and giving the ball to Saquon Barkley more than 6 times might be a good idea, Philly. I've heard that might be a good idea. By the way, it worked out pretty well last season. To Denver, again, this is a team that has almost everything when you take a look at it. The defense has a pass rush. They have one of the top cover corners in Patrick Surtain, who was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They have some nice playmakers on offense at wide receiver. We mentioned Sutton. Franklin's pretty good. Marvin Mims. Dobbins and Harvey at running back are a nice 1-2 punch. It really comes down to Bo Nix for this team. Can he hit those several key throws in key situations? We saw watch that game against the Chargers, Steve. He missed a few key throws. He made the key throws. On Sunday, I think they found out how good this team can be when Nix hits those throws. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do that going forward. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Well said, Dave. All right, we're going to get into my game of the week. I got another win. And I'm not want to brag. My name is not Steve Retzer. I'm taking one out of Steve's book. I'm definitely going to brag. That's all Steve does is brag. I think Steve brags when he gets out of bed every day. He's like, "Hey, I got out of bed before." I'm like, "Oh my god." Anyways, no, I'm just messing with you, Steve. All right, man. All right, the prediction was Commanders 32, Chargers 27. That was my prediction. The actual was the Commanders 27, Chargers 10.
Yes.
So not too bad there. Daniels was effective in his return. 15 out of 26, 231 yards and a touchdown. He chipped in 39 rushing yards. And there's this other guy for the other team.
Yes, Mr. Herbert.
What's his nickname?
Well, yeah, you have it this week. You didn't have it the first few weeks. This week,
I'm getting revenge here.
Yes,
I needed
the Washington defense and a very poor Chargers offensive line probably helped you out this week.
Yep. Herbert struggled to produce, managing only 166 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
22 out of 29. That's not too bad. His poor showing was largely due to the Chargers' complete lack of discipline. Yeah, that sounds like hardball. And an injury-ravaged offensive line. Dave just mentioned that,
I did.
Which allowed him to be sacked 4 times. That team's terrible.
Oh, geez.
My God. Hardball, you stink. Anyways,
they should just cancel the
I know. Listen.
Denver and the Chargers are both tied for first place. That stinks.
I know. But I gotta get mine here, guys, because I don't like the guy. You know I don't. And it led to 10 costly penalties. I thought Harbaugh's got that under control. He won the Natty for Michigan. What are you doing? And multiple turnovers that continually killed their drives. The combination of the poise Daniels. Which is, I'm
not here to defend Harbaugh, by the way.
Daniels,
I'm not here to defend
remember,
Harbaugh.
Daniels, that's my side chick.
Yeah,
Anyways, in a suffocating defensive effort against the self-destructing Chargers, and that fraud resulted in a decisive 27-10 victory for the Commanders. Again, not wanting to brag, but told you so. Commanders, another win. Another win.
Well, that was completely a battle of one quarterback you love and one quarterback you hate.
Have you noticed that these game of the weeks continue to go that way? Oh, man.
Exactly.
I love it. Anyways, we're going to get to the bold prediction part of the show, and we're going to get into it. Dave and Steve are going to give them the bold predictions review. I think, Dave Greenshield, did you get this one right, or is this another loss?
This is a bad week all the way around,
Okay, well,
guys. The
yeah, no
Browns
kidding.
was bad. The game of the week didn't go the way I wanted to. And this bold P, which was tied to my game prediction, by the way, with the Browns and the Vikings.
Okay.
It was Myles Garrett getting 3 sacks. And that didn't work out so well. Myles was blanked this week. Mind you, this is a Minnesota offensive line that was missing several key starters, as Steve mentioned earlier in his review of the game. They were without their best offensive lineman, Christian Darrisaw, in the second half. But credit the Minnesota offensive line. The Vikings limited Garrett to 2 pressures on 35 pass rushes, 5.7%. That's his second lowest pressure rate in a game since 2021. They also chipped him on 15 of those rushes, which is the 3rd highest chip rate. Garrett faced, since 2018, that was the 3rd highest chip rate since 2018, his 2nd season in the NFL. A better pass rush would have certainly helped the Browns on Sunday. Maybe a sack or 2 might have helped the Browns put that game away on that last drive. So, not a good week for Myles, but, some credit to the Minnesota offensive line for help limiting him a little bit.
I thought he was going to get more sacks. I really did.
Yeah. Well, other guys were able to kind of take advantage. You mentioned Alex Wright, Malik Collins on the interior did have a nice game.
Is it a Sopranos situation, a no-show job, where you get, he doesn't have to show up to work and he still gets paid? Anyways.
We'll have to reference Steve about that.
Yeah.
Garrett has a stinker every once in a while. Remember, he had a game like that against the Saints we watched. You do it sometimes. Yeah. He's not perfect, I guess.
Yeah, but it really is surprising, especially with as many linemen as Minnesota was down, and then again their best offensive lineman Darrisaw didn't even play the second half, so a little bit of a surprise.
Okay. Do I want to cut the show off now? Because I don't want to hear him bragging about his bold predictions.
Here we go.
Should I just cut the show credits and all that stuff, and maybe leave his name off the credits?
Well, the question is, are we going to get into baked beans again here? By the way, that's all I want to know.
Here's the thing. It's nauseating to listen to him you brag. I'm sick of it.
You know what?
Anyway,
and to be fair,
I know.
Steve talked about a coach he dislikes. He's about ready to talk about a coach that he loves.
Steve, what do you got for that bold prediction here? I want to hear about this victory.
Guys, I was one of the few in the far and in between. I'm probably the only guy that did this.
Yes.
New England Patriots at Buffalo Bills. I said the Patriots would do the impossible and beat the Bills at Orchard Park.
They did.
And they did.
Yes.
23-20. Drake May outdueled Josh Allen, going 13 of 14 in the second half. When May rolled out right, he could not be stopped, guys. Stephon Diggs had a redemption game. I think he had 10 catches, 146 yards. I mean, pretty awesome against his former team, because he was always injured, didn't play real great for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Mike Rabel had his defense, he's got him improving fast. So I like to see that. The Patriots defense is solid. Josh McDaniels is doing a great job as offensive coordinator, just like he did with Bill Belichick.
They got a couple big turnovers, that defense, this week. They got a key red zone interception in this game that was big.
They did. It was a must-win for the Patriots. Vrabel even shook every player's hand going on the way back into the locker room. I watched it. Me and Derek, Brent, we watched the end of the game, and he's shaking every player's hand. And
did you get a little misty-eyed, Steve?
I did. I mean, the guy. I mean, he's a true leader. He's a leader amongst men. You know, I mean, man, is the guy something? He's building something special. Maybe another Patriots dynasty in a few years, guys. Go Pats!
Well, I'll say this. Can I just say this about this?
Sure.
I am a Drake May guy. That much I think means
Drake maybe?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast that said that. Like, now you're on record as saying fraud, by the way.
He is.
Mr. Keaton.
Well, he's like a third cousin to the other two
To Lawrence.
frauds.
And
Yeah.
By the way, Lawrence
They
had
all-
a comeback win on Monday night against the Chiefs, but that's neither
Yeah.
here nor there.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. We'll leave that part out.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, man.
But I do think that Drake may or may be. I actually do think he's going to be a good quarterback. I would like to see the Patriots build a little bit more around him. And that's why I wasn't as keen on your 11-win pick before the season, Steve. I still think that Vrabel needs another offseason to get that roster right, around May for them to really make a move.
Yeah.
Just my overall opinion. But they may end up with a higher win total than 7, which is what I predicted them to have at the beginning
When
of the
May
year.
rolls out, right, guys? I got to say this.
Yeah.
Bills, they rushed in, they got him, they're pulling him down, the 300-some-pound men yanking him down, and he still released the ball for first downs. I mean, does that tell you
He is
a
doing
quarterback
well.
in the right direction?
Steve,
With the right coach and the right coordinator.
You still want to keep
Imagine
your
that.
Yeah.
Steve? You still want to keep your wager with that Chris guy?
I'll have to roll with it as of now.
I know. He's pretty happy. By the way, he was so happy. You saw it on the group chain. You were on the group chain.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, it was sickening to see that, And I wanted a loss for him, and it didn't happen. And
I think the potential's there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think they need to continue to fortify that offensive line, maybe get him another receiver, and I think he will be a good quarterback.
yeah. All right, guys, this will wrap things up here. Let's get some final thoughts. Dave, what do you got for final thoughts?
Well, a rough week all the way around. Bold Peas, game of the week, Vikings. Trying to be optimistic about the Browns going forward, but it's very tough to do, especially with the coaching being where it's situated. Going to be interesting to see Joe Flacco in Cincinnati, by the way.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
All right, Steve, what do you got for final thoughts?
Guys, I think it's been a rough week as well. I'm still a little excited to see Dylan Gabriel. I don't know, against Pittsburgh. I guess we'll see. I mean, how excited can you get there? And it's at Pittsburgh. We never
it's a road game.
win there. So we'll see what happens, guys.
Yeah, my final thoughts are I'm going to leave the audience with this. I kind of feel the Browns are in a toxic mode here, toxic culture. I think there's infighting. I think there's management issues. I think there's screaming and yelling behind closed doors that we don't know. And I feel like it's just a mess, and they're going to have to blow the whole thing up. Dynamite, blow it up, start over. The only person that's going to return is Haslam. I mean, it just seems like this culture.
Get rid of Deep Podesta, too.
And get rid of Depot. Steve and I found out, did you hear about that? This guy don't even work in Cleveland. He works in California, and it's
that's right.
a consultant type. I think his salary is like $1 million a year or $2 million. I kind of feel like that's where the direction they're going. Maybe Steve's right. Maybe get Chucky in there, John Gruden. Right?
John Gruden, maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah, I actually
someone to look at.
I do think that John Gruden will coach again in the NFL. Now, whether it's going to be in Cleveland, I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care.